Alright, welcome everyone. We are live. This is Zenith Online Racing back on Thursday nights finally. And we are doing an F2 League. So the first race of the F2 League, we're going to run 13 races as we were scheduled for no assist. We're going to pivot to the F2s, and it is a reverse calendar, so we are going to run Brazil first, which is actually the season finale. And there goes Terminal with a little spin. Check in with Swelly, see how he's doing. But yeah, we are going to run 13 races, reverse grid, so the F2 season will run a little bit longer than our F1 season will. Probably, I think, 2 or 3 weeks longer. We're going to skip a break week, so pretty competitive times there. Everybody really close to one another at the top there, so it's looking like a good start, and hopefully we get some good racing. Just going to get a party going. Okay. Now, buddy, I gave you treats and food already, alright? Daddy's busy doing a broadcast here. I also have not eaten, so I'm going to mute myself for a brief second. Cut this pizza up. As you can see, it is raining. We did have a weather report from Janet. Like I said, full wet for the sprint and the feature race. So that's going to be a pretty interesting race. Apologies for the water there. It's washing my hands off. But yeah, should be a pretty interesting race. Really looking forward to... Oh, Swelly is disconnected. Someone started already. Honest to God, guys. Trying to figure out what is going on here. Some guys got disconnected. Asylum got disconnected, and he's the host, so that's not good. Looks like everybody is in. I'm wondering if anybody needs another invite. Where's the controller? No, buddy, don't. That's not for cats. Chewing an elastic band. He's spending the day at the vet tomorrow if he eats that. Alright, I wonder if anybody got these guys back in. It should be pretty interesting, though, in all seriousness. Man, these cars are quiet. My headphones like fully cranked here. Just gonna check in with this party here. I wonder if that's doing something to it. No, looks all good. All right. I wonder if it's just because I'm not on board. They don't sound as loud from a distance. Yeah, that's the case. All right. All right, well, we're about to get the first F2 Zenith Online Racing race underway. It's round 1 in Brazil. The sprint race, reverse qualifying grid. 5 lights are on. It's raining. And we are racing in Brazil. Very, very bad start for Asylum. It looked like he bogged down hard. And that looks like Terminal and Villeneuve are going to squeak by in the front here. So into turn 1, 3 abreast. This could not end well. Let's try and get that off the screen for now until we see the action sort itself. And well, it looks like everybody threw okay. Not bad. Not bad at all. Oh, big crash in the back there. And that looks like Zem and Spot Up Triples, I believe, came together on the straight there. So Zamoglis, there's a lot of debris there. These two are going to have to pit and get their damage repaired. Zamoglis in shambles here, really. He's got a lot of damage to that front wing. It's going to be a tough ask to get him back to the pits. It looks like Spot Up Triples lost a lot of his wing too. I wonder if they just came together in the... it's a little tricky corner there, and I wonder if the two just came together and they were trying to get themselves straightened out. Looks like Terminal has had an incident, so Spot Up Triples and Zamoglis now have someone to aim their sights on. Obviously, Zamoglis is going to have to pit. I don't see any way that he can't. The nice thing, too, is it's the first race of the sprint. We still have the feature race. There, Zamoglis in. Alright, so let's get back to the front. Obviously, I got a little distracted there. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat here because JX Swelly there has not made it back into the lobby, so I'm going to try and get him to add me, and we'll get an invite out to him as soon as possible. So Jinnit putting some serious pressure on Soy here. We got a few other cars racing wheel to wheel here, early stages of the race, and Jinnit on that outside line just able to open up the turn a little bit more, is able to make that move and get by Soy. So a little bit of a spin there for Bobby, it would seem. It looks like Bobby and Villeneuve going wheel to wheel, the two Quebecois. I'm assuming Villeneuve is Quebecois, unless he's just a Villeneuve fan, but he's Canadian. Bobby, obviously an admin in our league, and he's just recently got back into the racing, so good to see him joining the F2 league. Yeah, I'm hoping for some good racing tonight. Early on, obviously, it's a couple incidents, but there's plenty of time to make up. This could be a safety car. Anything really could help these guys get back involved, so just got to keep your head down, and you still have a whole other race to do later. So there we go, JXW with the request. Let's get that. I'm going to sort that out for him as soon as I can. And try and get you some action to watch in the background while we do this. So I think I need to leave this and then go back in. There we go. Hopefully you can get in from that. Asylum now, putting some pressure on Adlahi. And Jinnit has just run away with this thing out front. Jinnit gonna be tough to stop in the wet. He's really, really good on the tires and the braking acceleration. So, might be tough to catch Jinnit tonight. I think he said it, actually, reviewing his weather report here. I believe he said it was supposed to be dry and wet sprint and wet race, but obviously we started with the wet. Got a couple little battles going here. Adlahi and Asylum. I think Asylum has made his way through. Looks like Gord now is catching up to Soy, so we'll keep an eye on that little scrap. I'm just going to try and send another invite to our friend Swelly here. Offline EA friends. There he is. Send him another one. You can figure it out if he wants to try or not. Alright, so we'll keep an eye on the action here. Swelly is sadly putting pressure on Villeneuve, even though he's AI, and I think that's something we're going to address. I mean, this is happening every week now. We're having these AI drivers involved in the race, and you know, they don't count, obviously, if they're not a driver. Oh, he's going into the pits, interestingly enough. Why on earth would you do that? Well, you'd be out of contention now. Guessing he's going to Inters, maybe? You know what? There's no Inters in this, is there? It's just full wets, I think. I'm not sure why Bobby pit. Maybe damage? Yeah, damage for sure. He's got no wing there. Well, why the AI pit? No idea, but at least he's taking himself out of contention now. On board with Gourd Sauce, putting some pressure on Soy, so obviously Jinnit just absolutely running away with this thing. There's no one even close to him, but a hell of a battle we got going here with Gourd and Soy, so at least we got something to watch for a little while. And we got Hightower putting some pressure on Terminal further down the field too, so we'll keep an eye on that gap. To learn all the car names. I can tell Soy's in the dams because it says it right on it. I don't know what Gord is in. I suppose I could look at the roster and I'd know, but... Wait, is... the white... maybe it's ART? Is that what the Armstrong is about? Or is that just a sponsor? No. Either way, Gord's carrying a penalty, though, so that will hamper his chances of actually finishing in front of Soy, but nonetheless, he is putting the pressure on, and I think he probably is quicker if he could get himself in front. I'll see if he can find a way to do that. We're already halfway through the sprint race here. 7 of 14. We got a yellow flag in Sector 3. That looks like it might be the blue car. Zimoglis, perhaps? No, it isn't Zem. It is Hightower? It is Hightower, yes. Back to Gord. Gord and Soy, the stars of the show so far. Then we're going to have another 20 laps. Looks like the rain is stopping. This could get pretty interesting in the last few laps here. Big slide there for Soy. Gord's going to be all over that. See if we can get a better angle here. That's a nice shot. But yeah. Should be, oh, look at that. And more sliding from Soy. The track just starting to dry a little bit. And maybe the wet's starting to lose grip. You see a bit of a line. Oh man, Soy is just locking it up, twisting and shouting. I had to once I said twisting. Couldn't resist. Oof. That's gonna be tight for Soy. I think he nearly put that in the wall. Let's go into turn 1 side by side. Oh, there's a bit of a bump there, and that has pushed Gord well wide. I think Soy did not leave enough space there. Gord can get his head down and close back up. He might be able to get by there. I think Soy is struggling for sure. Definitely could be something to send to the stewards as well. I'm assuming if Gord gets in front, he probably won't care too much, but that's, especially with the time penalties carrying, that's going to cost him dearly. Adlahi now starting to put some pressure on Asylum, so we'll keep an eye on this. Big incident here, it looks like. Sector 2 and 3. Maybe sorted itself. Looks like we got spot up triples and Zimoglis pretty close to one another as well. So, oh, there is something. Someone is stopped. Is it Adlahi? No. It's a dark colored car. Bobby, perhaps. I think Bobby is out. Is Bobby out? He's disqualified. He got himself stuck. Interesting. Got Gord. I meant to bring the chat up. Gord's now closed back up again. Sorry, guys. If you're watching live and you've made any comments, feel free to drop those again. Full throttle. Gord's in high tech. Okay. They are fun to drive. I have to admit, man. Like, I did it last week, and I haven't played this game much at all. And I was like, you know what? I can really see how this league could work, because it is. You know, everybody's on an even playing field. There's no setups. We're going to run fixed setups, and the cars themselves are, I found they were pretty easy to drive, for the most part. You know, they're not absolutely juiced up with horsepower, so you're not going to, like, spin it too often getting on the gas. You do have to be smart about it still, but I just found it pretty easy to kind of jump in and just have a good time racing. You know, it's pretty quality. They handle well, and you know, it's gonna be. I think it'll be some good racing, and I like. No, we had a pretty good turnout for the first race. We were struggling to get people out on Thursdays, and look at what we've done. We've managed to pull something off, and looks like a few more guys are interested in joining for next week. So, you know, it's race 1 of 13. We got plenty of time for people to get in here and get their feet wet. And you know, it's a third night of racing. It's casual. It's meant for fun. It doesn't need to be taken too seriously. And you know, it's probably going to be some races where we have less, and some races where we have a nearly full grid. So, I think it's just a good opportunity for people to get out and do some extra racing with some of the guys that they are friends with or race alongside, and you know, carry some of those rivalries and battles from tier 1, tier 2 into a league where everybody from both tiers can race. And you know, I really like no assist. I like the idea of it, but we weren't getting numbers and we couldn't run a race properly. And it got to a point where it was like, you know what, let's open this up so that everybody in this Discord can get out here and have a good time. So, really like the response we had. It was a little bit slow with the sign-up process, but a lot of people kind of piled in on the last few days as we were getting ready to ramp it up and get going. So, I'm really happy that it worked out, and I'm glad I was able to offer some kind of alternative to. It was tough watching, you know, no assist fail on Thursday, and I was looking forward to having 3 nights of racing, and I think it's a really, really good pivot. Like it's a really cool thing that you're not going to get. I know some leagues do it, but you don't get it everywhere, and it's an opportunity for people to, I don't know, just to kind of hone their racecraft and get some good battles in with some of the guys and get, you know, more familiar with the community, especially for some of these new guys like Villeneuve and, you know, guys like Swelly, who haven't been racing with us much the last couple seasons. Like, just really happy that everybody's shown up, and it looks like we're having some good scraps out there too, so really positive. This is 3 laps to go in the sprint. Feature race will be the qualifying order, and maybe 20 laps for the feature. We should be wrapped up by about 9 o'clock, and I mean, that was part of the appeal. Once I realized that we can run on an entire race weekend in an hour, I mean, if it's a secondary night of racing for most of the guys, I think it makes it a little more appealing. You can get in and out, in and out in an hour. You know, you get some good scraps, get some clips for the highlight reel, you get a stream. It's just a nice way to wrap the week up, and then we get back to F1 on Monday. It is starting to... Rain is just about stopping, but it's probably not going to matter by the time we cross the finish line. You see on the braking, Soy really struggling. A lot of the back end stepping out with him on the braking. I wonder if that's the bias, maybe. Yeah, it's again here. And I think Gord's onto it. I mean, if Gord is able to kind of get as close as he can out of the exit of the corner, and he sees those slides occurring. Shorten the track a little bit here. It's not going to be any DRS, but the slipstream is giving him a look. I don't know if he's close enough to have a run, but I think he's got to just kind of stay in this window and wait for Soy to make a little error, and then he can pounce. He had his opportunity, but Soy just pushed him right to the edge of the track and was able to hold it. And yeah, you know, it's I just wanted to get things rolling. I thought it would be pretty important to actually get a race under our belt, and I think that would, you know, the guys that are kind of on the sidelines thinking about this, like, do I want to do this? you get a race under your belt, you see that, you know, it is something we're sticking with, and, you know, hopefully more guys pile in. It'd be really, really fun to see, like, you know, 17, 18 cars out here, and you see how close they can race, so it'd be really great if we could get the grid filled up a little more. There it is again from Soy, just a huge slide there, and Gord looking for an alternate line to try and make up some time, but I think he's cost himself too much here. Good luck for Gord here. He's close, but it's going to be tricky to make a move here. Best bet would be to try and find some kind of grip, like just like what he did there. Get a good run in through this little tricky part here, and maybe he gets a look into the next braking zone. Jinnit just on another level right now. You know, I have to say, like, I'm looking at where all these guys generally came from. Most of them are Tier 2 guys, and I can see why Jinnit just scampered off with the victory there. I know Zamogle's Tier 1, but obviously caught up early in an incident. It's not gonna bode well for him. Look at this, right down to the wire, Gord! Oh, man, that was close. He was 0.6 off, 0.06 off. Obviously, the penalty wouldn't have mattered, but man, that was a hell of a finish. And there goes Terminal and Villeneuve heading down towards the line. Terminal with a really nice run here, but it's not going to be enough. So a few close finishes here, even though Swelly obviously doesn't count. Alright, so there's the points. I think they'll add up. I believe. Yeah, so we'll show our sprint results and our weekend results. So yeah, they'll set up the feature now. The qualifying order will be the same as what we saw at the end of the one-shot quali. So the thing is with the weekend setup, you know, we obviously generally run about an hour and a half with our F1 races. So this time around, now we have we're running one-shot quali, a sprint, and a feature, which is how we would do our F1 sprint weekends. But they do end up taking about an hour and a half still. The thing is with the F2 races, we can't. You either do one shot or it's 45 minutes of qualifying, and I don't think anybody wants to do 45 minutes of qualifying. Obviously, you know, if we were to do like a one-off race for fun, and we were like, hey, let's do like a full F2 weekend, like let's do the full quali, the full sprint, and the full feature as like, you know, a Saturday afternoon kind of get-together thing, then that would be interesting. I would like to actually see how people do with a 45-minute qualifying session. I think that would be pretty cool, but as far as like, you know, it's a second night of racing for most of these guys. I just don't think it's terribly appealing to spend 45 minutes qualifying and then do 2 short races. Like, it's more fun. It's more fun to, you know, to do that. The one shot. I consider reverse grid order. You know, as the season goes on, maybe we could get rid of the one shot, and do a reverse championship grid where it's like, you know, Jinnit obviously after today will probably go right to the back and start there for the sprint. But then we're not really. It's the same argument we had with the sprint weekends we were running in the F1 leagues, where it's just not really fair to cripple people like that. I think the best thing is to give it, you know, it's a one-shot quality. It's not like it's a great chance to get a good grid spot. You make one little mistake and you're screwed, but at least you have some control over you know, where you're going to start the race from. So I like that idea a lot. I think it's probably the only realistic way for us to run this league. Should be pretty interesting seeing Jinnit start from the back here. Yeah, it's off to a good start. I mean, like I said, it would be great if we could get 20 cars out, but 12 cars and a few solid battles amongst the field, I'm content with that. Especially after, you know, trying desperately to fill up the no assist grid. I did some scouting online and discords and forums and stuff like that, and just there was nothing. You know, no one was coming in, and you know, it's ironic in a sense because I feel like, you know, the casual racing fan, or you know, a casual racing fan, or people viewing the stream here on YouTube, they might see this and go, yeah, this does look fun. Like, I kind of want to join this league and get in on this. Like, it's funny that we're kind of forced to pivot because we couldn't run anything, and it might end up yielding us, you know, a lot more interest from outside. So, you know, I think we'll kind of leave it open to our members right now. We'll look internally and say, hey, look, we ran a race, everybody's had a good time. Like, you know, if anybody's interested, sign up now. Let's get you in. Let's get you integrated. And then if we still have spots open, then we'll do some external scouting and maybe try to add a couple drivers. Like, hey, if you're looking for something to do Thursday nights, we got an F2 league. Jump in. Definitely think it's something we can try to do moving forward. So, all right, grids reforming. We've got Adlehy on pole position, Gord is second, Spot Up Triples third, Zamoglis fourth, Bobby fifth, Soy sixth, Hightower, Villeneuve, Asylum, Terminal round out your top 10. Swelly is disconnected. He will probably make some sort of poor judgment in the pit. We'll get things rolling here. Adlehy on pole position, and lights are out. We are racing the feature race in Brazil, round 1 of Zenith Online Racing's F2 League, and Gord Sauce gets a brilliant start right up into the front, into turn 1, and great move from Spot of Triples there, just trying to hang on. He goes a little bit wide, and it's going to give Soy the opportunity to get back up. It's the last thing Gord wants to hear, is that Soy is lurking in the podium positions, because they had a hell of a scrap last race. And here we go, side by side into turn 4. Soy and Bobby. Bobby pushed a little wide. Zamaglis sneaks through. Zamaglis having a much better start to this race. He's got Soy on the outside of the track there. He's got to be considering a move here. Got a few guys going wheel to wheel. I'd really like to see everybody get through this lap unscathed, and then we can probably get some really solid battles going here. We got Jinnit. He's got Asylum and Hightower right behind him. Our sprint winner making his way through the field. He's P8 currently. Brilliant move there. Just so much more traction than these other guys. And great stuff from Jinnit. He's already up to P7. So Jinnit, the odds-on favorite to win the title, surely at this stage. He's just carving the field up. I have to say, I wonder if it's the no assist thing. You know, Jinnit's used to running with no assist. I wonder if he just is... he can just feel this car a lot better than anybody else right now, because he's got all those intricate little... Oh, big moment there! That looks like Spot of Triples. Spot of Triples has gone into the barrier. Has he caught anybody? I don't think so. Looks like he's through okay. Villeneuve's had an incident as well. Villeneuve staying out. I think it may be just a spin for Villeneuve. See if we can get these gaps back up. See where our battles are. Look at this. We got 3 abreast here on the exit of turn 2. That's Jinnit making his way through. He's just carving by. And now we have Bobby Adlahy and Asylum. So close. This is really good stuff early on here. And there's a little... Asylum, I believe, ran a little wide. Oh no, it was Adlahy. Asylum squeaks through. So really, really good midfield battle right now. The guys out front, Gord, getting the hammer down, but look who's behind. Soy Loco once again. So Soy now able to go chase down Gord. Zamaglis in tow. Jinnit on the horizon. I mean, that top 4 is going to be a really fun little battle soon. We're going to have to jump to that shortly, but we'll keep an eye on these guys in the midfield for now. Bobby holding down P5, drifting away a little bit, but got a bit of a cushion to Asylum behind him. If he can extend that, Asylum could be the cork in the bottle here for the rest of the midfield. And I want to give my voice a rest for a lap or so, so I'm going to pick... Jinnit's about to make a move. We should check on that. Thinking I want to get on board with someone, just kind of like, you know, let's get immersed in the action for a minute. We'll take all the junk off the screen and get ourselves in there. Oh, a little bit of a contact there with Zem and Jinnit. Zem not looking to let Jinnit through here. Zamaglis desperate to try and snag a podium here in the feature race, and Jinnit all over him, really. It's a fool's errand trying to keep Jinnit behind. He's just clearly much faster than everyone else. If I was Zamaglis, I would just let him go and not waste my time. And we got some action back here. Asylum and Bobby going wheel to wheel. Asylum around the outside trying to get the move done. Bobby stays in front. He's got the braking line. Really good scrap here. Be tough to step away from the commentary at this point just because of how close these battles are, so I think I'll stick with it for a few laps. And as we start to separate a little bit, maybe when we get a little bit of one-on-one where we're watching one driver hunt down another, then we'll maybe get on board and just kind of do the volume up bit that they run on F1. You know, turn it up. Let's just listen to the cars race. We'll get back to that shortly, though. Jinnit about to make a move, and there's a bit of a moment there for Adlahy. Swelly's gone through. We know he's not really there. And here comes Jinnit and Zamaglis. See, without the DRS, it is tough to get these moves done. Jinnit just so smooth on the brakes, but Zamaglis holding that inside line. Really nice battle with these two. You know, Jinnit knows he's faster, but he has to remember he does have 4 extra laps to get back to the front here. So it's not super imperative that he gets by, but Zimaglis is putting up a really solid fight here. I'm really enjoying this. This is what we were hoping for. Gord and Soy are absolutely loving that Zimaglis is holding up Jinnit. It gives them a fighting chance to actually hang on to their lead. Jinnit looking to the inside here, and I don't think he needs to do anything crazy yet, but if he doesn't get by in the next couple laps, he's probably going to have to start looking for some kind of move. Spot Up Triples has retired. I believe he's gone into the pits for that. So this midfield starting to spread out just a touch here. Sika Salim's made it through. Bobby hanging on to him. Hightower's kind of hanging on. Adlahi has dropped himself out of this mix. So I have to keep an eye on Bobby here, see if he can hang on to Asylum. He seems to be doing a good job right now. And I think Jinnit has made it by Zem. I missed that. Just paying attention to these gaps here, but it'll be interesting now that Jinnit's through, if he's able to go catch Soy. You know what, I did say last race, didn't I? I was like, Gord's quicker than Soy, he just can't get by. And if you look at the front now, Gord has extended that gap to Soy by quite a bit. I think Soy probably less likely to pick up a penalty than Gord, so you know, if you know, Gord maybe doesn't run the greatest strategy and picks up a penalty, and then Soy suddenly maybe can make up that 2-3 seconds he needs. But for now, it's even Stevens, and Gord's pulling away, so it's probably looking like Jinnit may be the only person able to catch Soy, or Gord, sorry, but Jinnit's going to have to make his way by Soy before he can go chase down Gord. Doesn't look like it's going to dry up at any point during this race. I would say it's probably going to rain through. We are looking at... I think there is a mandatory pit stop when it's raining. I'm actually not sure. I don't know the rules on that. I suppose it's not really my job to know the rules on that. I guess as a commentator, yes, but I don't know if I instructed the drivers that they needed to pit or not pit, so... Alright, so we got some gaps forming now. I think this is the time where we're gonna look at this onboard lap. So I'm gonna mute myself for a second. We're gonna get on board with Hightower. We're gonna take all the junk off the screen, and we're gonna... Jesus Christ, Jinnit has caught Soy fast. I'm gonna get back to that first. I mean, you really, like, it's the lack of overtakeability is what cost Jinnit so much time. I mean, once he was freed up, he's just absolutely taken off. But credit to Zimaglis, he did a hell of a job defending there. Like, he really held Jinnit up for a couple laps. And obviously Jinnit just outright quickest, and absolutely no business, trying to keep him behind you. So Zimaglis did a great job there for a few laps, but as I said, it was always a fool's errand. It was never going to last. It was always going to fail. Oh, Hightower's had a moment. He's dropped behind Swelly now. And there goes Bobby. Making a mistake. Bobby's really sliding down the order now. He's back behind Hightower. And now Villeneuve in the mix. Suddenly we have a battle there. Jinnit runs into the back of Soy there. Right into the tire. Hopefully didn't pick up any damage. Adley, Villeneuve, Bobby, Hightower, all back together again, but fighting for P7 now. I mean, I guess Swelly is not going to count, so realistically, like, you know, they are fighting for 6th. Like, it's kind of back where they were. They all made a mistake, and now they're racing again. That's actually great. I kind of love it. I'm waiting for Jinnit to get by so I can get down there to that. Oh, Jinnit with a big mistake. That doesn't happen often. Jinnit does make an error, and he drops back. So let's get back to this battle with Bobby, Hightower, Villeneuve, and Adley. Villeneuve, early mistake and kind of just plugging away at the back there. Now suddenly he's got 3 cars to race. And I know he's a big fan of racing. He's enjoyed himself so far racing these guys. And there's another mistake from Bobby. He's gone right to the back and barely keeps... Oh, he's into the wall. I'm surprised he's not out there. Tough look for Bobby, but he's got the pit lane right there. I think he has to stop anyway. Get a fresh set of wets, get going again. He should be alright. Villeneuve and Adley going wheel to wheel here. And Villeneuve has lost his front wing. I don't know when that happened. I don't know if that was with Adley here. Bobby's done for the night, it appears. Villeneuve and Adley going at it. I wonder if Villeneuve's going to pit. I guess he has to pit at some point. You might as well get that wing changed, right? Jinnit now finally back caught up to Soy. This is great for Gord. I mean, there's a good shot at Gord to win this thing. He's really got to hope that Jinnit just can't find a way by Soy here. And right as I say that, Soy out of the corner struggles, but he's still kind of in front. Jinnit just doesn't seem to have that top speed that he needs. Going around the outside, he's going to try and get him under braking here, and Jinnit squeezing Soy on the throttle nicely, though. They're still side by side, and I think Jinnit finally through. Excellent work from Jinnit there. Very tough, but very fair as well, and just kind of grinded that overtake out through a few corners. Great job from Jinnit, and now he's off to the races to try and go catch Gord for the win. Hightower, way off the road here. Gets himself back, sorted. Villeneuve lost some time to Adley. That wing's got to be hampering him at this point. He's definitely going to have to pit. I mean, it's halfway through the race. It's probably time to pit and get that wing changed. Maybe hoping for a safety car. I don't know if anybody's really in a position to have a safety car at this point. Gord pitting from the lead with a nice cushion. Really nothing for Jinnit's in clear air. Gord should be in clear air. Gord should be in clear air as well, so shouldn't hamper him much, and maybe he can use those fresh tires to put in some good laps, maybe try and build that cushion to Jinnit, but Jinnit could just extend here and potentially just on raw pace overcut Gord. It's going to be interesting to see. See where Gord filters out. Gord just ahead of Adley, and pretty nice cushion to Swelly, who's AI, so he'll be able to get by him pretty easily. And then he's got a really big gap to Asylum, so really no competition for Gord on track. He's got a clear air, so that's something Jinnit will need to consider when he makes his decision. Jinnit, I doubt, is slower. He's putting the purple sectors. I think even on these old tires, he's going to be able to just build the overcut gap he needs and pit probably safely and return to the lead. So interesting to see what Jinnit can do here. Right now, I think if he pit now, he'd have to make an overtake. I believe he'd have to make an overtake. But if he stays out for a few laps, I think he'll probably get the cushion he needs, and he could just come out back in front. He'll have fresher tires as well, so should be able to hold on to that easily. Soy and Gord might be an interesting little scrap towards the end. Depends if Gord gets stuck in traffic. I don't think he will. Soy maybe should have considered an undercut attempt. And perhaps that's why Gord pit so early, just to cover that off. So Gord's really only chasing Swelly. I mean, we've really lost all of our battles at this point. Sad. But I guess I'll just pick somebody for a glory run. I know it's a ghost car, but it's all we got right now, so... Adlahi has pit. Oh, has he pit? No, he's had a mistake. And there's Gord's penalty. That's what Soy needs. See, now Soy... if I were Soy, I'd pit now and try to get some pressure on Gord. I wonder if these guys... Because it's wet, is there potential for them to just not pit? I don't know if that's the rule for F2 as well. I thought there was a mandatory pit stop in F2 feature race. But is that only in dry? I kind of just gave Gord a glory run anyway. Who's that in Sector 3? It's gone around. I believe that is Adlahi. So it's gone from bad to worse for Adlahi now. Yeah, struggling. Terminal not having a great night either, but I think he'll get points. I'm not even sure how the points work. I think it's top 10 for feature. Top 8 for sprint. Zimagos and Asylum pitting. Comes Hightower. Will he get in front of these guys? Villeneuve also pitting. Swelly. Doesn't matter. Oh, I keep going back. I keep forgetting. So this is where it gets interesting for Gord. He's got Soy and Jinnit ahead that need to pit. And I imagine at this stage his tire's probably in better shape. Maybe he is making up time on these guys. I know, you know, the F2 pit stops are longer. It's probably about 19 seconds here. F1. I'm at 22, so I think he is in Soy Loco striking distance, but Jinnit, I think, is well clear at this stage. There we go. Zimagos and Hightower now. A little bit of a battle. Alright, here we go. Let's give Zimagos... I know Zimagos on first tires. He's going to get by pretty easy, but this is our glory run, so turn it up. Let's ride on board with Sam. Bit of a bobble there from Zem. Zem. Oh, I said Zem. Asylum squeaks by. So, nice little battle we got forming here. Soy and Jinnit have still not pit. They're just holding out hope that they could stick a dry on at the end, but I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, nice little lap there from Zem. He was closing up, and he just had that little bobble on the penultimate corner. And Asylum squeaks through, so Asylum happy to see that. But now Zem's got another target in sights, and Asylum has Hightower in front trying to play spoiler. Oh, big mistake. Hightower is off. Huge mistake. And that lets Asylum and Zem go, so now it's really Zem, Asylum. Hightower probably should consider pitting at this stage. I don't really know why he's staying out unless he's gambling on the fact that the mandatory pit stop rule doesn't apply in the wet. So Zem. I mean, pressure on for Asylum, you know, and there's no one in front of him anymore. Now Zimagos has a chance to just kind of focus on reeling him in. We'll see if Zem can do anything, but Asylum's been pretty steady in Tier 1 this year, so imagine he can close this out and hang on to that P4. Potentially, I guess they're a ways off, really. Those front three are just kind of out on their own. I think Soy could pit and Jinnit could pit, and they're not going to come out behind or anywhere near Asylum, really. Gord's just kind of wondering what they're doing, I think, at this stage, really. Like, if the mandatory pit stop is enforced, you know, maybe it's not. I'm starting to wonder. I mean, Jin and Soy do seem to know what's going on with F2, and they're staying out, so I don't know. I mean, if I give people the wrong information, I apologize, but it's, you know, mandatory pit stop is a thing for the feature race, but it's maybe like F1. If it's wet, you don't have to change tires. The race starts wet, I guess, because it could dry up, and it doesn't matter what you do, really. Obviously, no one's going to stay on wets when it's dry, though. I mean, Jinnit's cleaned house this weekend, really. If he gets the win, and you know, as the season goes on with the mandatory pit stop thing, if we come to tracks where people can pit early and just get to the end, you put yourself in clear air with how hard it is overtaking these F2 cars. I think we're going to see a lot of people try that strategy, honestly. Definitely something you could have considered for this race. You know, if the wets can go to the end, well, it's like, well, just get it done early, get it behind everybody. I guess then you just put yourself in traffic, though. Like, why do it, right? There's a bobble there, again, from, is it Adlahi again? I think so. I mean, these guys are surely going to the end now, right? Or are they just waiting to the absolute last second to do it so they don't have to worry about traffic at all? So I think Jinnit at this point, well, he's got to cover Soy. Can't just give Soy the win if he pit. But I think Jinnit at this point is well ahead of Gord. Interesting. I mean, a lot of guys pit, so it looks like the field's... it's pretty split on whether you have to or not. Jinnit's still setting fastest laps out there. Yeah, he's down to the final lap, so, I mean, that's it. I guess you don't have to pit. I mean, Gord could have won this race, probably. I know Jinnit's probably the quicker, but... man, you gotta wonder, like... we're gonna have to look that rule up. Alright. Let's go through the order here. We got Jinnit making his way towards Sector 3 here. Rounding out the final few corners. Jinnit, the class of the field today, wins the sprint, wins the feature. Just absolutely on it in the wet, especially. Brilliant race from Jinnit, so Jinnit's going to cross the line. Hey, you know what? Let's give him the glory run. We got time. There it is. Jinnit wins the feature race and the sprint. Absolute dominance in round one. Soy Loco with a hell of a drive in both races. Excellent results in both, podium in both, and he will bring it home second. Gord Sauce absolutely kicking himself for pitting. I'm assuming he assumed he had to and did it, and these guys didn't, and, you know, wish we looked that up. Didn't really think about it, honestly. I kind of didn't even think it would be raining. But Gord brings it home third. That's still a good night for Gord. I think he'll be happy that he's got the pace to fight at the front. That'll be something he'll be really thrilled with. But yeah, man, honestly, this F2 thing's kind of shook things up a bit, right? We got some guys that haven't been at the front lately, up at the front. Like, I'm enjoying this, so this is going to be really good moving forward. Asylum with a really good result. P4, Zimoglis, miserable sprint race, excellent feature race. He really did a solid job tonight. And there goes P5 for Zem. High Tower making his way through the final corner. Hightower crosses the line, P6, and that is it for all the cars on the lead lap. Swelly will not count. He was absent for the whole race evening, so to get the order updated from there. 9-10. Alright, quick interviews. Let me get the results first. Nice. I mean, there's your championship standings right there. Alright, Janet, absolute dominance. 37. And Soy and Gord, second and third. So, you know, it kind of worked. The feature race heavily weighted. But yeah, you know, I like that. That was a really good night. So let's get Janet, Soy, and Gord in for interviews quickly and kind of get their thoughts on the first ever F2 race. It's really cool. I forgot who the other guy was. Soy Local. Did I get the right guys? Soy. It was Soy, Gordon, Janet, right?
That is correct.
Okay. I don't know if Soy will join.
He did in the Tier 2 race, I think.
Yeah. I don't know if Janet will join because he was on his PC, but he usually does jump on the PlayStation if he needs to. I guess we'll start with you. I mean, what did you get? P3 for the feature? I guess for the weekend as well?
P3 for both, yep.
Yeah. So, I guess, like, I don't know, run us through your first thoughts on F2, the first F2 race, like how are you feeling, how was the competition, and then additionally, like, the pit stop. Did you think you needed to pit?
I absolutely thought I needed to pit.
Okay, because it looked like about half
It gave me a pit option. I know someone mentioned that you didn't have to pit in the feature or in the sprint, so I was like, okay, so I'll just do that. But I was completely convinced that I had to have pit stop.
I totally thought that you had to pit, and I was like, these guys surely aren't just going to drive across the line and get disqualified, right? But you know, it was like as we got closer to the end, I was like, okay, these guys know what they're doing. Like, they must know they don't have to pit. And, you know, I was like, I wish we had clarified that. It honestly just didn't even cross my mind that we might have a wet race. Like, it just, like, I was like, yeah, let's get F2 racing going. Like, come on, let's have some fun. Didn't even think about it.
Those cars were not fun to drive in the wet.
No, I imagine.
Like, it was actually, like, brutal just trying to keep the cars without spinning out.
Honestly, if that's how you feel, and I'm assuming some other guys are going to agree with you, I'm looking forward to the dry race because the competition's there. Like, you could see, like, it is fun, man. Like, the
pace is close. Yeah,
it's nice. Like, everybody's really well balanced.
It's just I don't know if the game was coded correctly for the F2 cars in the wet.
Yeah,
because I know it's hard when you're in an F1 car in the wet, but like this was just a whole other ball game where it's like, if you even had the slightest too much throttle, you were just gonna lose the car immediately. I mean, it was a challenge, but I don't know if we have to ban wet races, but I guess just having the feature and the sprint both be wet kind of sucks, because it's like, I feel like the grid probably would have been closer if it was dry.
Mm-hmm. Soya, your mic is super quiet. I don't know if you can, like, turn that up quickly or not, but I can barely hear you. Like, compared to the music, you're almost silent.
Can you hear me better now?
Oh, much better, yep.
There you go.
Yep. Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, like, you know, same question generally. Like, how was your first F2 race? Did you enjoy that? And what, you know, what do you think moving forward, especially the wet weather thing? You know, of course, like, I'm kind of looking at this is like a fun night of racing. You know, it's fun to have a challenge. I can see where you guys are coming from. Like, I'm not terribly against making it dry only, just for the sake of, like, making it more appealing to everybody. Like, go, like, hey, you know what? You're never racing in the wet. We're just coming out here to have some fun. Like, you know, share your thoughts.
Yeah, no, actually agreed. To be honest, I think I did only like 10, 15 laps before I jumped into this race tonight, so this is completely blind. But no, they do feel considerably different. But the one thing I will say, though, is that they feel more consistent on the throttle, so you can anticipate a little bit better as to when you might lose it or you don't lose it, which I think is really good.
With that, yeah.
Especially in comparison to the F1 cars, that they're very unpredictable. Like, you don't know, you can exit a corner the same way 10 times, but then on the 11th it's just gonna spin you.
Yeah.
But overall, like, cool little cars, super fun, and like you said at the beginning, you can see that the competition's there. It's gonna be relatively close if everything was dry.
Yeah.
So sure, it sucked that it was wet tonight, but I'm sure moving forward, it'll be really fun either way.
Yeah. So I'm kind of thinking, like, you know, how often do we really get wet races when we run league races? It's like once every 5, 6 maybe. It's definitely dependent on the circuit, right?
I know last season for Tier 3, I think it took like 16 races for us to get our first wet race.
Yeah, sometimes it, like, just doesn't happen. Like, I remember, because, you know, me and Puff used to be real good in the wet, and when I was raced with him, I'd be like, I was like, man, I hope it's wet. I was like, it's a chore and it's a pain in the ass, but I know we can win if it's wet. So, yeah, absolutely. I like the idea of keeping it, and obviously, like, you know, kind of go through the calendar, I guess, and maybe just go, like, you know, if we got, like, 8 tracks that probably are going to be wet or potentially wet, maybe we turn turn it to
Yeah,
dry
you
for a
turn,
few
like,
just
some
to
of them just
guarantee.
to be dry.
Yeah, like especially if we get a few wet races, like say we're like, oh, we're at like 3 or 4 wet races out of 7, like let's make these dry for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I guess just the biggest thing is just making the rules clearer for
Yeah.
everyone. Because
Yeah,
obviously,
for sure.
like 99% of us probably don't watch F2,
Yeah, exactly.
so we're not really.
Well, F2 races typically happen right before, like in the sprint case, they'll happen right after quali
Yeah.
for F1, and then the feature race happens a few hours before the actual race of F1 as well. So they'll typically be in similar conditions.
Yeah.
To be very truthful with you, so if it's raining. If it's raining for quali, it'll be raining for the sprint, and then if it's raining for the race, it'll also be raining for the race for F1 too. So,
but I guess I'm probably not the only person that's like, hey, I didn't know that we could just drive to the end on 20 lap old wets.
Yeah, like that's the F1 rules, right? And I didn't know if it was the same
F1
for
rules,
F2.
I think you always have to pit.
No.
No,
So
not
in the wet.
Not in the wet. The wet tires, if you can take one set of wets to the end, you can take them to the end.
Yeah. Yeah, when it's wet weather, basically I think the rule is that if everybody starts the race on wet tires, then there's no
There's no
two
never
compound
happens
rule
because F1 never races in the wet now. It's always inters.
I mean, yeah. No, but it's inters too. Like if you start on inters, like they could technically take inters to the end. That happened in Turkey, like 2020, right?
Yeah, same rule applies. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
right.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was good. You guys had like a hell of a battle for both races, really, especially in the sprint. Like that was really good scrap. So, thanks for the entertainment, and thanks for showing up, and appreciate everybody tuning in. And
I wish I would have been able to, I guess, just stay out. Maybe Soy would have caught up.
Oh
to me.
man, like
I would have had a battle with Jeanette at some point, but
you guys were still
You
within
live and you
range.
learn.
Like it wasn't like he was destroyed you or anything. Like you could have, especially with the penalty, you could easily like reel that in, right? So yeah,
and the F2 pit stops are brutally long.
they're
Like
slow
just
as hell.
changing the tires is 4 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
they're-
Like, if you don't have to, it's the best not to, right? You see them do that a lot, like especially in the feature or the sprint. Like almost every sprint race, like the guy ends up winning didn't pit. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah,
like
they'll typically put the hardest compound and just ride it out to the very end, because the difference between F1 and F2 is I think you have what, 3 guys changing a tire in F1, in F2 it's only 1 guy.
yeah,
Oof.
yeah.
So
it is slow.
Imagine going from 3 guys on 1 to 1 guy on each. It's considerably different. So, yeah.
All right, guys, let's wrap it up.
Okay.
Good chat.
I mean, that was fun.
Good drive. Yeah, and we'll see you next week. I hope.
All right. Till next week. See you, boys.
All right. See you guys.
Ooh, Austria. Okay, that'll be fun.
That's gonna be a fun
Austria
one.
will be good.